Lesson 5.5, Fractions and Decimals. A rational number can be written as a quotient, a over b, where a and b are integers and b is not equal to 0. Basically, rational numbers can be written as, what this means right here, is it can be written as fractions. Specifically, improper fractions or proper fractions, it can't be a mixed number. So you want to turn it into a fraction or turn mixed numbers into improper fractions. Most numbers are rational. Terminating decimal has a final digit, where a repeating decimal has one or more digits or has a digit or group of digits that repeat without end. Example 1. To write a fraction as a decimal, you divide the numerator by the denominator. I like to think that you take the 8/11ths and you bring down the numerator, and that goes underneath the division sign. Put the decimal point, add a 0. So we're going to bring up the decimal point. 11 goes into 8 0 times. 11 goes into 80 7 times. And you keep going from there. So that was 7. That becomes 77, because 7 times 11 is 77. Subtract. You end up with 3. Bring down the 0. And now 11 into 30 goes twice. 22. Subtract. You get an 8. Bring down the 0. 88 becomes 7. And so forth. Well, you can start to see that it starts repeating itself. Okay? And we don't just use this ... to represent repeating decimals. We actually write it by using a bar over the repeating digits. You can see that the 7 and the 2 repeat. So you put the bar over the 7 and the 2. Be careful, it's not 727 that repeats. The 7 shouldn't be here. Okay? I will take off some points if you put that extra 7. Make sure you understand that it's 72 that repeats. 9/25, again, bring down the 9. That goes inside the division sign. Decimal point, bring it up. 25 goes into 9 0 times. 25 goes into 93 times. That becomes 75. Subtract, you get 15. Bring down the 0. 25 into 150 6 times, which is 150. And you're done, because you have a remainder of 0. And again, we don't use this remainder thing. We don't say that we have a remainder of, we don't do that anymore. That was elementary school. We actually get a repeating or terminating decimal. This is a terminating decimal. 36 hundredths. We can order rational numbers by turning them all into decimals. So this table lists the weights of 5 bowling balls. Order the weights from least to greatest. We first want to write mixed numbers as decimals. So to do that, the 12 just stays 12. Then you have a decimal point, and now you can take 16 into 3 and so on, which is going to be 12.1875. Or you can say 12 and 1,875 10,000ths. And then 12 and 2 11ths becomes 12 and 1800ths repeating. 12 and 1/8 is 12 and 125 thousandths. Now what I do is I like to order them. So I'm going to put the decimal points next to the table, and I'm going to line them up. I'm going to line up the decimal points. Repeats. Okay, they're all 12, so let's move to the next number. 1, 2, 1, 1, 1. Well, this is going to be the greatest. And you could do this by graphing them. But sometimes using a number line is more complicated in my opinion. So what I like to do is I like to do it this way where I list it. So this is going to be the greatest. So this is going to be my 5th choice. So let me just put that over there. That's going to be my 5th choice. Let's see what would be next. Well, the ones are all the same, so we have to go to the second number, 8. Well, this one's already done because that was a 20. That's the highest. And we can keep adding zeros if we need to. 8, 8, 2, 2. Okay, well, it's between these two 8s. I'm kind of going greatest to least the way I'm doing it, but you can do it the opposite way. So the 8 and the 8, this is a 7, and then remember these are 1, 8, 1, 8. So 7 and 1, 8. This is going to be my 4th, because 7 is bigger than 1. This is going to be my 3rd. Now, my 1 and 2, keep adding these zeros if you need to, but this is a 1 and a 2 are the same, but the 0 and the 5 are not. So this is going to be my first one and second. Again, if you wanted to graph this, you could do that as well. 12 and 1/87 is probably right about here. Well, that's 5. That's 5, so maybe about there. You can label them too. This is 12 and 3/16. This is 12.2. 12 and 2/11 is 1/818. So right about there, which is 12 and 2/11. And then 12/12. Again, that's 12/12. And 12 and 1/8. Maybe about there. You can see I'm pretty close. There's the exact, and again we label them. Oh, I was wrong with my 1/8. Oh yes, because it's 1, 2. Be careful about that, okay? Because there was a 1, 2, and I accidentally put it next to the 0.1. And now you can see this is from least to greatest. And again, when you were back here and I was ordering them from least to greatest, I do want to put the original numbers, which is the fractions, not the decimal points. And there's your answer, least to greatest. I just want you to do number 1, order from least to greatest. I would first turn them all into decimals. Nine twentieths is 0.45. 1/3 is 0.3 repeating. And 0.4. So I'm going to line them up. Line up the decimal points. I'm just going to put a couple of 3s here. Again, dot, dot, dot. 4, 6. Okay, let's do least this time to greatest. So the least 3s are lower. So I'm looking at these two. Well, then I have a 4 and a 3. Obviously, this one is going to be first. So I'm going to have my 1/3 first. Second would be the other 0.3, which is started as a decimal. Now we go to my 4s. This is 0. So 0.4 is going to be third, and that was my 2/5. Remember, always go back to the original number. And 5 is less than 6. So that was my 9/20. And then my 0.46 is my answer. Example 3, you're writing terminating decimals as fractions. To write decimals as fractions, think about how to say them correctly. The shortcut we always do is 0.8. This is in the tenths place, which means that you put 8 over 10. Always simplify. They want them in the simplest form. 8/10 becomes 4/5. For part B, this is a whole number. Before the decimal point is a whole number. So we bring out the whole number, -3. 225 is in the numerator, and what's the place value of the end number, the very last number? Tenths, hundredths, thousands. This is the thousands place. and that actually goes in that box. So we put it over 1,000. You do have to simplify. So you get negative 3 9/40ths. We're going to skip example 4. I want you to try 3 through 6 right now. Remember to write them as a fraction. You need to say them correctly. Number 3, this is 9 over, and this is the 10th place. It does not simplify, so that's your answer. 4, write down 76 over. This is the 100th place. It does simplify because they're both even, at least. 19 over 25. And we can actually do more than just 2. Number 5 is a mixed number. I knew this because there's a number before the decimal point. Negative 1 over 15, and then this is the 100th place. Simplify it. Negative 1 3/20ths. Number 6, this is a mixed number. 25 over 100. Definitely simplifies to negative 5 1/4. We are not doing 7 through 10.